Hello guys, Alan here and welcome to episode 3 of the advanced working drawing series here found on YouTube. So this video is going to be our final part, our last and final video on this series, on this advanced working drawing series. I quite remember in the previous episode we said we are going to talk about how we can be able to print out, place all our views, all these views we have, all the floor plans, all the elevations, and also the sections on sheet, and be able to print them out so we can be able to export all those views on sheet out as a PDF document. So I'm going to be doing that in this video. So that's what this video is going to be about. So in our previous episode we kind of like spoke about elevations. We went to speak about our elevations, why we have all these lines in there for our representative techniques, and then we went into our sections. We spoke about our sections as well, and there are a lot of stuff you need to do. Actually, you just need to click on this and then you make sure you turn this off. All right, so yeah, I think you have to do that manually. By the way, you just have to do that manually by just clicking on the grid lines, and then you just click on this box right there to uncheck that, and then it unchecks that. You're going to notice you have two boxes. All right, when you uncheck the one on the top, it's going to uncheck the grid head on the top, so we need that. So we are going to keep that checked, and then we are going to uncheck this one. Perfect. So we are going to click on grid line 1, and then we uncheck that. So this is perfect. I guess you guys have already done that. So we spoke about section BB as well, and then we went straight into our door and window shadow, where we kind of like spoke on how we can actually do this. All right, so we spoke a little bit on our door and window shadows, which is actually there. So I'm going to close all that out of the way, and then we are going to start placing our views on sheet. We want to see how everything is going to turn out when we finally place everything on sheet, and then we export them out as a PDF document. All right, so we are going to be doing that now. So now all you want to do is move into the project browser, get into your project browser, and then you just find sheets. All right, you're going to see right there, sheets. Then what you want to do is you right click on that. When you right click on that, you're going to find new sheets. When you find that new sheet out, you're going to have this pop-up menu. Now you notice I already have some few sheets loaded in. Now what Revit is going to give you by default, all right, is always going to be the A0 metric and then none. All right, so it's always going to give you the A0 metric and none by default. All right, so if you want to load in more sheets, or you want to put in more sheets, let's say A3 sheets, A4 sheets, A0 sheets, which A0 is already there. Let's say you want to put in some kind of sheet you want. All you need to do is just click on this load button right there, and then when you click on this load button right there, you're actually going to go into the metric library. All right, Revit, I think it depends on the kind of Revit you are using. It's going to take you into the Imperial metric library. All right, and I'm sure most of you guys are not working with the Imperial system. It's going to be the metric system. So make sure you click on this icon right there, and then you go back, and then you find English. When you find English, click on that English, and then that's the one that's going to be the metric system. All right, so that's going to be the metric system. I'm already into and then you find, make sure you find your title blocks. So I've already found my title blocks, and I've opened that in here, and you can see I've already customized some sheets in here. I have a sheet named with my name, Edem. You can see it in there. I have some sheets in there with my name already. So this is how I was able to load in some sheets. So just load in any kind of sheet you want. It depends on the drawing. It depends on the drawing, because most of the drawings, some of the drawings like this floor plan we have right here, is not going to fit exactly on A3. So that drawing is going to fit exactly on A1. That's why you see I have A1 loaded in. So I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to click on this, my A1 metric, and then I'm going to load that in. So when I load that in, you can see I have it in here. I have the title over here, which is a long span building design, and it's a church building design actually. So you can see that in there, drawn by Alan Architectural, checked by also Alan Architectural, and you can see we have sheet number and we have a scale in there. So this sheet, you're not going to have it like how I have mine. You're going to have yours by default on how Autodesk usually keep their sheet. All right, you're going to see the Autodesk logo right on top over there. So if you don't want that, all you need to do is just click on the sheet right there, and then you go into the edit family. All right, so now you are in the sheet mode. you have entered into the family of the sheet, where you can now make changes and take off stuff you don't need. So you can actually delete stuff that you don't need. So you can delete out the you can take off the Autodesk logo if you don't need it, and then you can just do a little bit of designs with lines. All right, you just make sure you are in create, find line, then you just design your sheet how you want it. Just kind of be creative, and then just design anything that you want. So you can do that inside a sheet mode. So I'm going to load and close out a project. Nope. So I'm going to keep that as it is. So I have my sheet loaded in, and I'm going to start placing my views on sheet. I'm going to show you guys how we can do that, and then I'm going to add a little bit of tips and tricks on how we can actually get a real quality produced PDF, how we are going to export something like that. So I have my sheet up in here, and the first thing I'm going to put on my sheet is going to be my ground floor plan, which is most definite. So I'm going to hold that, I'm going to click and hold that, and then I'm going to drag it into the sheet view. So after dragging it into the sheet view, you're going to see it's right in there. I can just click right there, and then it's in there. So I'm going to move this somewhere around here. I'm going to move it somewhere around here. It's perfect. So now you are going to notice something, right? You are going to notice on the floor plans, you are going to see I have this blue filled region inside the box of the ground floor plan. What it just simply means is that I've actually placed that view on a sheet. So that is what it just simply means. So it means that that view is active on a sheet. So I can no longer place that view on another sheet, which is quite helpful. In the other previous versions of Revit from 2021, 2020, or the other versions, you're not going to have this feature. All right, this feature is only from 2023, I guess, to 2025. So now you notice in my view here, all my grid heads are missing, which isn't supposed to be so. These grid heads are missing. Same thing on this grid line. So let's go and check that out. These are some few problems you're going to be encountering. So let's go into our ground floor plan. So we are inside our ground floor plan, which is now. So we can just click on that. So it's just the grid heads. So let's head into edit type, and then we make sure we check this. All right, we're going to check this, and then we're going to keep this at the top and hit on apply, hit on OK. So we have that in there. All those grids are checked, are now brought in right now, but the grid lines here seems missing. It's just because we've pulled it up in one of our elevations. So let's go into one of our elevations. You can see this grid head line right there. It's pulled all the way up, so it's not cutting, it's not going through the ground floor plan level, which is right here. So let's just make sure it goes through that. Let's just bring it down, click on that box right there, and then let's just bring that bad boy down, and let's keep it right there. Let's bring it down a little bit, let it cross the ground level. So we have it in there, and let's get back into our sheet or our ground floor plan. You can see now our grid lines are showing because we've put that down to actually come below the ground floor plan level. So we have that in there, and let's check our sheets. Is perfect. So what I usually do is, you see this right here, we can just click on that and we can move this up a little bit so it doesn't conflict with that, and we can just click on this view, and then we can just hold this dot and then drag it all the way in here. So we have our ground floor plan 1 in 100 view on sheet. So I'm going to be doing it for a couple of views. I'm going to put in a couple of views on the sheet, and then I expect you guys, and then I'll print it out, and I expect you guys to be able to do the rest by yourself. It's an assignment here. You can only get an assignment on YouTube in Alan Architecture, where you're going to be doing lots and lots of assignments. All right, so I'm going to give you guys an assignment. You guys are going to do the rest by yourself, and then you're going to drop a comment in the comment section on how you were able to achieve that. All right, so you're going to put some other views on sheet, some of our floor plans and elevations, and we'll put one section on the sheet, and then we'll call it a day. So I'm going to load in more sheets. So just scroll down in a project browser, same process, just right click right there, and then head on new sheet. I'm going to use the same sheet, so it's in there, and then I'm going to find my first floor plan. I'm going to move it in there, and then I'm going to place it in there. I'm going to make sure it's centered. What you have to do is you make sure it's centered in there, which is perfect. So I'm going to click right there, and then I'm going to move this up which is perfect. Click on the view, and then I'm going to move this this straight line right there, bring it somewhere around here. So this is perfect. I have my ground floor plan on my sheet now, which is also perfect. So I'm going to load in more sheets again. The same process. It's always the same process. Right click, find new sheets, click on OK. Now you just click and then drag it into that sheet right there. So I'm going to use the north elevation. Click and then I'm going to drag it right in there. It's perfect. North elevation is in there, which is also perfect. It's perfect in there. So I'm going to load in more sheets again, new sheets, the same sheets, and then I'm going to drag and drop one of the sections in there. So I'm going to pull that in there as well. Drag this in there and fit it right there. So this is also perfect. We have our section BB on our sheet. So now, how are we going to be able to export this out as professionals? All right, as intermediate users, how we are going to export this view out of Revit. All right, so now 2025 has a feature where we can just click right here to export and create PDF, which is quite simple, making our life very easy and simple for us. We thank God we have that in there. So we are going to be using that, and how we can print out of Revit using the export PDF tool. All right, so we are going to be doing that now. So what we are going to do is, what you can do is you can just hit on this command right here. That's the print command. All right, you can see my PC is connected to a printer. I have a printer over here which is connected to that services printer, an HP OfficeJet Pro 7740 series. So I'm going to close that out of the way. So you can see I have my printer already connected. I have my PC connected to a printer, so it's always going to pick my printer by default. So I'm not going to be using my printer. We are going to export using PDF. So what we can do after clicking on this tool right here, all right, is to just change that. Some of you are going to use your Microsoft Print to PDF. I have some PDF tools which I've installed by myself, which is called the Qt PDF Writer. So you can install that on your PC. It's free and it's online. You can just install that by default on your PC. So I'm going to be using my Qt PDF Writer tool. I'm going to click on that. Now what you want to do now is we are going to print the current view. But before we do any of that, what we want to do now is just click on properties right there, and then we head straight into layout. We want to make sure that we are printing on a landscape view. All right, when you click on portrait, it's going to come out straight. We don't want that, so we are going to click on a landscape view. We want it to have that landscape view, and then we're going to click on advanced, and we want our sheet to be A1. All right, we want our sheet to be A1, so we are going to click on the ISO A1. We are going to keep it that way, and then we're going to hit on OK in here, and then in our settings tab we are going to click on setup. Make sure you click on setup. So this is just the printing out process which you need to do. You need to make sure that you've already gone through this process, then you can just continuously print out all your sheets from Revit using the same default process. All right, only in the same file. All right, only in the same file. When you open another new file, you can use the settings. You have to do them again. So now what we're going to do now is, you see our ISO A1 is selected. So we are going to keep it at default 3. Now what we want to do, this is offset from corner. Make sure you select offset from corner, and make sure you always select no margin. All right, and because we want to print it to the exact scale, which is 1 in 100, make sure you keep that at zoom. All right, make sure you keep it at zoom. Don't keep it at fit to page. Keep it at zoom, and make sure your zoom is 100%. If you have yours at 99%, it wouldn't be to the right scale. So make sure it's always at 100%. Keep that at 100%. We are going to keep all this as it is. We're just going to check that. View links in blue, and we are going to keep the region edge consistent. We are going to keep this as it is. With our orientation, it's landscape. We are going to keep it at vector processing. We want high, and we want it colored. All right, so we are going to click on OK, and it's going to access, do you want to save these settings? Of course we do want to save these settings, and we are going to click on OK right there. So now what we want to do now is to check to see if our printout is actually to the right scale. So what we can do now is just go into preview right there, and then we have that looking exactly well fitted in there. You can see it's actually to the right scale. We have no margins at the end, which is perfect, so we can close out of the way. So Control P, we're going to use our Control P. Let's get back into setup. Let's see if everything is set. Okay, we are good to go. Click on OK. Click on OK right there, and then we hit on OK also in there as well. It's going to take some time to load, so we are going to save that at desktop. We are going to call this our section BB. We're going to call this section BB right there, and then we're going to hit on save. So we have that in there as well. Let me just reduce that. Let's check that PDF document. So we're going to see that it's in here, it's saved in here, which is perfect. So we have that view saved on our PDF sheet, which is perfect. So it means that when we are going to print this out on an A1 sheet, which is going to be rightly to the exact scale, the scale which is right there, 1 in 100. All right, so we are going to open up our Revit back. Now, what if we want to combine all our views on sheet and print it out as a single document? We can actually achieve that here in Revit. So what we can do now is just hit on your Control P on your keyboard. Just hit on Control P on your keyboard. Make sure your Qt PDF is selected, and then we've selected our combine multiple sheets. Make sure this is selected, and then we're going to make sure we select our sheets. All right, after doing that, make sure you click on that select right there, and then we want to scroll down and find our sheets. So we want it to print our 14, which is our ground floor plan. You can see it right there. So we are going to check that, and we are going to check that. We are going to check that sheet. So we want this to print as a combined file. All right, we want our drawings to be combined. We don't want it to come out singularly. All right, we don't want it to be just a single document which we now have to combine and then we send to the printing press. We want everything to print as a combined file. All right, so we are going to make sure we check all that, and then we click on select. It's checked, and then we're going to hit on combine. Make sure it's selected. Combine is selected, and then you click on OK right there, and we are going to call this, let's just wait, and we're going to save that at our desktop, and we are going to call this our church design Alan architectural. Perfect. So we are going to save, and then we're coming out of there, and then we're going to check if it's all combined. So you can see we're on sheet 1. We only placed 4 views on the sheet, so we are going to have 4 pages. All right, just 4 pages right there. So when we scroll down, you can see we have all those documents combined in a single file, which is perfect. So we have that in there. So that's how we are able to combine stuff in Revit automatically. All right, so you just make sure you place all your views on the sheet, and then you go into combine files, then you select all the views that you want to be combined, and then you just click on the OK button, and then you just save that on wherever you want to save that. So this is it for our final episode. If you have anything you want to add, to this video right here, make sure you drop it in the comment section, and we are going to do well to respond to everybody. We are actually here to learn from each other, so just make sure you drop anything you want to add to this video. I hope you guys found this video very helpful. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. It's going to help me out a lot. I love you guys by force. Peace out.
I'm still working real hard on a Saturday. My future I don't see from a mile away.